Hi there.
Pick your head up. There you go.
You're
You
unprepared.
still start on me, Blake.
You're unprepared, and I'm getting yelled at.
Yeah, Blake. He started on me, and you have your head down. So it's still the start of the show. You got to be ready for the head up there. Goodness
Hi.
gracious!
How are ya?
I swear we're professionals.
Just
Hey,
ask us. Wait, does that mean we're getting paid?
yeah,
I am.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
so, Mr. Director, Producer,
yeah. We get paid in food.
actually, we get paid in love.
Lots and lots of love. So it is time to begin for Bollocks this evening, and that's the one I'm looking for right there. Boom. Oh, my goodness. One of these days we'll have it right. I'm not sure about that. Lenny, these are yours.
Excellent.
All right. He's still not looking up. He's still not paying attention.
I learned I got to share the show to our loyal fans.
Oh, my gosh. You're killing me, Smalls. You're absolutely killing me. Hey, it's time to get started. It is our final show of the week.
Weekend adjacent. I'm looking up. What can I tell you?
Yeah, you're looking up. He's actually paying attention there. So
No, I'm just looking up.
We need to put his minion beside him in the side-by-side split screen. So, oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. We are here in the Ford, live in Bozard Ford Studios.
Yeah.
And
Vroom,
thank
vroom.
you so much for Letty and Bo and the entire crew over there at Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine. Their goal is to make sure your time and experience buying a car is stress-free, fun, and enjoyable. Bozard is a family-owned Ford dealership that has been in business since 1949. Bozard Ford Lincoln has been the recipient of numerous dealer awards, including being ranked a number one automotive dealership in the entire nation by Dealer Rater. Bozard Ford also has won back-to-back President's Awards, which is the highest honor given by Ford Motor Company. Check them out today online at bozardford.com.
When quality matters, trust A.D. Davis Construction, North Florida's expert in high-end homes, commercial builds, renovations, and historic restorations. With over 65 years of experience, their dedicated team delivers craftsmanship you can count on and relationships built on trust. They don't just build buildings. We build confidence with integrity, performance, and results that keep over 85% of our clients coming back. What happened to the other 15%? From concept to completion, choose A.D. Davis Construction, where your vision meets our legacy of excellence. We're in a A.D. Davis building,
Well,
and it's
sound
excellent.
off, Blake. Gosh.
New here, are you? New here?
Oh, that other 15%, that's their last build. That's their last house.
They're done, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
It's
They-
not
they-
that they
right.
don't come back.
Right. There's
They're
no
so
need
happy,
right now.
so
Right.
happy with what
Right.
A.D. Davis built them
Right.
that they don't need to build anymore.
Their punch list has been punched properly.
All right, these guys right here, very proud of them. They did their first show last night. Land Title of America. All right, Land Title of America, the oldest title company serving the oldest city. Stephen Collins, the owner of Land Title, has been working in the title industry here in St. Augustine since 1985, specializing in all your title insurance and closing needs. If you have a title issue, there is no one better. Stay local. Choose Land Title. Call or give him a call or text him. That's directly to his cell phone, and that's 904-501-4481. And you got to use Land Title because
They give a crap.
There you go.
Blake, I didn't hear you.
They give a crap.
Thank you. All right, it's coming it's weekend adjacent. So eat, drink, and be Irish at Meehan's Irish Pub and Seafood House, right on the waterfront in downtown St. Augustine. Whether you're craving classic corned beef and cabbage, fresh seafood from our Roar Bar, or our famous bangers and mash, Meehan's is where locals and visitors feel right at home. Grab a pint in our cozy Irish pub, unwind upstairs at Johnny's Oyster Bar with stunning views of the Matanzas River, or kick back in the backyard with tropical vibes and a Caribbean-inspired menu. The pints are cold, the food's unforgettable, the welcome is always warm, only at Meehan's. Great staff, great food, new chef who's been with the organization for quite some time. Give him a whirl.
There you go. There you go.
I think we should get Reggie
Always-
in here one afternoon.
We should get Reggie in
I
here.
think so.
Reggie needs to make an appearance.
I think so.
We'll even put the Irish flag behind him.
Okay.
We got one
You
in
still
here
got one
somewhere
kicking
from-
around someplace? Okay.
Yeah, from Derek's
Yeah,
days.
it's still down? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
Some Derek's days. All right, it is time for Bollocks banter.
Okay.
All right, this is the where we go back and forth with topics.
Okay.
And I just made that up, but I like it. I think we're going to have to keep the Bollocks banter.
We can we do every day.
Yes, we seem to. And I can't believe we've been on the air for like 3 years with Bollocks, and that's
Yeah.
the first time I put those two together. But Blake, is the judge. He gets to pick what the topics are. I have.
Actually, you know what? Here, I'm just going to override and everything.
You have a topic?
We're just going to go straight into it because we know what the number one topic is going to be. And I presume you know what's going to be.
The breakup?
So let's just go straight into that.
The breakup.
All righty.
You knew I was going to pick that straight away. Why even ask something else?
Well, I wanted to stick with the format because I know your Asperger's likes to have everything exactly in the line, and I didn't want your brain to explode. I'm a caring father. So,
do you see my head right now? It's totally fine.
Yeah, no.
Except for my nose, it's a little bit
That's an
questionable.
extreme close up, by the way. There's an extreme close up. I think I saw some nose hairs I didn't want to see. All right, the breakup.
Oh,
Liddy,
going fast and furious.
From your perspective, does this make you happy? I think if I was sitting where you're at, anything that tortures Trump from your side has to be a little comical for you.
Oh, I think this is exceedingly humorous. I think it's just, again, a waste of time or energy. Trump has a lot more important things to do than quibble with his boyfriend, so we should move right along there. But, it's humorous. I think it's sad on a lot of levels. But, yeah, it's chock-a-block between Truth Social and X. These guys are going back and forth, and they're dueling every 5 minutes.
Yeah. No.
This is live time. This is real time.
Do you think it's something on Elon's side to kind of gain eyeballs on his format, or do you think he's like genuinely like this guy's a crazy person?
No, I don't think he needs any more followers. He's got the hugest platform out there. I don't know if he's followed more than Trump on Truth Social. Maybe Blake, you can look into that and see how their numbers are. But no, and look, I would prefer the president. I brought up gravitas the other day, and you intoned Hillary Clinton, and it was a completely, false equivalency in an unrelated conversation.
Okay, I don't even know the words you're using right now.
Cornell.
Thank you. I said something about gravitas, which means seriousness and, taking things seriously, or presenting yourself in a serious fashion, and credibility would be a variation of that.
And
you brought up Hillary Clinton and the whole stuff about people on the roof or whatever.
And the dossier. And
that was,
you want me to continue?
Go on, but I'm talking about
her email. You want me to continue?
Okay. Unrelated to her behavior in her position as Secretary of State or as Senator in New York. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about you got the man who's sitting in the Oval Office and he's a pandering putz. You want alliteration? I'll give you alliteration.
No, I don't think.
the man's got other things to do instead of making up nicknames and being a nasty prick.
He's always going to be a nasty prick.
Well,
he was a nasty prick when he got in, and he's always going to be that.
Well, but that's not the job.
Yeah, no, his job. You're right. It's not the job, and it shouldn't matter. But as long as he's doing the job, the other person was just sitting on his damn hands, making oil prices go crazy, closing pipelines, not allowing fracking, giving the other countries that are our competitors an economic edge. So, yeah, it's okay. It's okay because you know what? It is going to make our country stronger economically. We'll see. He's an asshole. You never heard me defend him as a person. Not once. That's why
it's not possible to do.
That's why
unless you've drank the MAGA Kool-Aid.
That's why I couldn't vote for him.
Yes.
Okay, there's a reason why I couldn't vote for him, but I couldn't vote for the other guy either because they were sitting on their hands, letting our country go in the wrong direction. Someone had to do something, whether it was right or wrong.
It's a matter of opinion, but carry on.
You think that where we were going economically was in the right direction?
The economy was the strongest economy. He handed Trump a raging economy.
Where was inflation? Where's inflation?
Okay. Yeah. And you're not gonna come into
it wasn't up. It wasn't up when Trump left.
Yeah, and neither was COVID.
Yeah. No, you're so wrong on this. The economy
was the strongest economy in years when Biden left office.
No.
Yes.
Come on.
Look at the numbers.
Come on. Yeah, look at the Democrat numbers. If you look at the real numbers, look at what eggs cost. Look at what groceries cost.
Right.
Look at all of those things and where they cost.
Okay, fine. So why are we stopping research on avian flu? Because that's why the eggs went up. They were culling flocks left and right. It had nothing to do with Joe Biden. It had to do with the availability of eggs.
It had nothing to do with how he handled the transportation and how he weakened our economy. You don't think
Transportation of what? Eggs?
Oh,
You put them all in one basket?
You haven't shipped a damn thing in this country in how long? Because I can tell you this, the shipment when he went into office,
Shipment of
blew
what?
up of materials, trucks, all trains, planes, trains, and automobiles. All of those things.
Thank you, John Candy.
Flew through the roof with Biden. Flew through the roof. And you know what that means? Every product, every single product flew through the roof because of what he did, closing those pipelines, denying fracking, making our country weaker. That is why everything stems around that. And if you don't believe that, then we really aren't going to get anywhere with the conversation.
Let me ask you a question. So you're so myopic that your goal is tomorrow and the next day, and you don't care about the future at all, your son and potentially your grandchildren?
What are you talking about? I don't care about the future.
No, you don't, obviously, because there's environmental concerns.
What environmental concerns? We set
pipelines, drilling in the Arctic refuge.
Here you go, tree hugger. Let me explain.
What? You want to do sonic testing over the coast of Florida?
Let me explain something to you.
Go ahead, Rick. Explain it to me.
We sit on a molten ball of lava. You think the human being, you and I, a little thing, which has been a freckle on the entire existence of time. The entire existence of time. We're this much. The rest of it is the room. Okay? That's the room on the time that we're living in.
Yeah.
You think we have control over our world. You think we have that kind of power. If we do, even if we do have that kind of power, if we don't do it, or if we do it in China, and every other country doesn't do it, it doesn't mean a damn thing, except it makes us weaker. That's what I'm saying.
So then, because they're going to light the fire, we should burn our house down.
No, that's not true at all. What house is burning down? If you're the recycling queen, I bet.
Yeah, I do. I recycle.
Yeah, okay, you know what? Do some research on that.
It all goes in, right. It used to make money. Now it doesn't make any money.
It doesn't make any freaking money. It never made any money. No, you didn't pay for the trucks. You didn't pay for all that. Yeah, you can say, oh, I sold this for 22 cents to China, but you know what you spent? You spent $3 to sell this for 22 cents. There's no business in the world that survives on that unless you're a Democrat. So don't tell me about economics from the Democratic side. That's the dumbest shit that's been given to our society.
It's no longer economically feasible.
It never was. There was no time in history. I'm a Parks and Rec guy. I love a tree as much as the next guy.
When we were in the city of Long Beach, we made a lot of money selling our cardboards and our waste.
You did not. Yeah, you sold it, but you know what you did? You spent more money on employees, on trucks, on gas that's worse for the environment than the actual.
So then we should completely stop the EV credits.
You make the people that want to do it, drop it off to a center. Don't put another diesel truck. Don't put another diesel truck on the road with pickup.
Well, that's the illusion of glass in St. Augustine. You got to bring it to a dumpster.
Yeah, that's the way. That's the only way it works. If you want to participate, you can participate, but don't spend my money throwing it down the road. And that's what we get with a lot of Democrat leaders. So, that was fun.
Boy,
are we okay?
I'm fine. Okay. I'm fine. I'm going to worry about you trying to find clean air and clean water in a couple of minutes.
It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen around here because we don't have industry.
Yeah.
But if you're in West Virginia, if you're near a coal plant, if you're near strip mining in Montana, all that water is poison.
Chicken Little, my gosh.
Do some research, brother.
You do some research. You do some follow-up research. We have more trees right now than we ever had in the United States. And they say, the world's falling apart. We have more trees right now in the United States. You know what makes our country healthy? Trees! That's what makes our country healthy is trees.
It is?
Yes.
I thought it was vaccines.
No, vaccines.
I can bring you right back home. Don't you worry.
Oh, gosh. Look, I think I felt a little heat right there.
Okay, is the stroke over?
This is how the two of them broke up.
You ain't getting rid of me that easy, old man. Oh,
I'm
the old man. Never mind.
I'm talking about.
Elon. Right.
We're both old men.
Right.
We're both like the guys sitting in the balconies at the Muppets.
Right. Yeah, Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, this is fun watching it back in here, man. This is fun.
We haven't even gotten to the divorce yet.
I can't believe I'm defending Trump still. It makes me mad.
I love putting you in that position. It makes you so uncomfortable.
I really hate it. So, but I can tell you this. Here's my question question to you. Do you think more people are believing what Elon's saying, or do you think more people are believing what Trump's saying? I'm more in the Elon camp in this argument. Like if I had to pick between mom and dad there,
right? Okay. Whose house you going to?
I'm going to Elon's house.
Yeah, you'll eat better.
Yeah,
unless you're only on McDonald's. It depends, because Trump has convinced so many people to be so rabid MAGA that they're not going to. It's not going to matter, because they're cowed, so they don't make any decisions on their own. They're sycophants. They're robotic in their allegiance to him. So whatever the percentage of the population is that, which I think is a pretty narrow population. I mean, they talk about the base. The MAGA base is not that large. It's large enough to get him where he goes, because the fringe follows in. And the Democrats couldn't come close to exploiting the moderates or the middle or the independents. And that's what cost them everything. Because as I've said this often, Democratic messaging sucks. And the Republicans stay on message. They'll lie right to your face, and they'll stay on message. Democrats aren't smart enough to lie to your face, and they can't stay on message.
Well, and here's the thing about what I'm saying, and Josh, I think he's 100% right. He's saying it's a distraction.
Well, you say that all the time.
Yeah, because I mean, it's smoke and mirrors is what that's what Trump likes to do. He goes in, he blows up the room, and then he comes back in and goes, "Okay, I'll give you this," knowing exactly that's all he needed to make the deal work. But he blows up the room first, and there's a lot of people in the construction world that do the same thing. And usually when they blow up at me, they're like down the road, and I go to the next guy. Right. Okay? I mean, you got, but the only way you can do that is if you have the power to do that.
Right.
You know what?
And you have to have somebody available who can, if you play, brinkmanship, you've got to be able to, A, walk away. Yeah. And B, have somebody who can replace that person if you need to do something else.
Yeah, and Trump met his match with Elon. He thought he was an equal intellectually with Elon in his mind. He thought that was him and Elon were equal.
Man, he had to go to Fordham Prep to get into college.
Yeah, Elon smokes him in pretty much every aspect of business in a lot of different ways. Elon never had to file for Chapter 11 like 5 times.
Right. And he didn't make a casino go bankrupt. How is that even possible?
He bankrupted the city. It wasn't like he just bankrupted. Yeah. He bankrupted
Atlantic
the city.
Yeah.
Because of his ego got in the way. This is why
he also stiffed everybody. I don't know that Elon Musk.
That was part of the right. They got paid pennies on the dollars because of the bankruptcy. But
no. But even in Trump Tower, his other contractors for years have been stiffed.
All right, and Gus is saying that how's it working? The tariffs haven't even kicked in yet.
Right.
So we don't know. Well,
that the steel tariffs have kicked in, but I think they cut England out of it. Yeah. The 50%, the additional 25% to go to 50% of steel tariffs started yesterday, I guess, or today.
Yeah, but we still haven't seen the effect of that. I mean, if it happens today, we're not seeing it for 30 days. Right. We have the future buyers and stuff like that. Right. And that's something that's but it's not real. We don't know if it's real until it shows its stabilization.
Well, it depends on whether he tacos or not.
Yeah.
But car manufacturers are starting to incrementally increase prices if they're using all that steel, and other products that are using steel, they're starting to build in the appreciation for this. Now, look, I'm all for, I'm not a big fan of nationalization, but I am certainly a big fan of protectionism. I think we should be buying American, forcing American manufacturers to do this. Now, you can't just stop and say, go build me a $5 billion factory and start making stuff in America today, because that's not realistic.
Yeah, no.
I mean, the strong-arming
because the money doesn't come from here. It comes from exactly the one that we're trying to get out of debt from. Right. And that's his ultimate goal. If you haven't seen his playbook with China is to renegotiate our debt. Yeah. And that's his playbook. So all this other stuff is smoke and mirrors in a lot of ways, and renegotiating debt will help Blake.
We did it
and
in
our
city.
Grandkids and all of those things.
I think the county did it. I think St. Augustine Beach did it. Anytime interest rates go down and you can renegotiate your debt and put it out further at a lower interest rate, you're saving your municipality or your government a tremendous amount of money.
And here's another thing before we jump off of the breakup. The
We didn't
reason
even jump into it yet.
Yeah, the reason the breakup is Trump's talking about his spending bill and cutting back and cutting back.
Mm-hmm.
And Elon's probably one of 7 people in the entire world that's read the bill. I don't even think Trump's read the bill.
According to Elon's post, he never saw it. They never gave it to him.
He
They
never
passed
even gave it to him.
I believe he put a post up on X that said, Trump said he read it. He knew it chapter and verse. And I'm parafhrasing the chapter and verse. Because
but it's like
Trump
1,000 pages. It's like,
it's 1,000 pages.
It's like
absolutely.
Atlas Shrugged.
Oh, come on. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene had buyer's remorse on voting for it because she said, "Oh, it was 1,000 pages. I didn't know that was in there." And somebody else said the same thing. I didn't know that was in there. They're all backtracking now because all of a sudden people are going, "This ain't such a good thing to do." So they're all looking for an exit ramp.
Yeah, and he's claiming not to be a politician. I hate to say it. No, Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's claiming not to be a politician.
He thinks he's the consummate politician.
Exactly what every other politician that says. All right, I'm going to give you the spending bill, and it's going to save us all this money. We're spending more money in the spending bill than we did in previous budgets.
Right.
You know who that sounds like? That sounds like George W. You know why Virginia is now Democrat? Because George W. grew the government so much, it behooves you to be a Democrat if you work in government, because bigger government means you have more security.
Not anymore.
Yeah, but that's what Democrats. That's why Virginia went from being a red to a purple. It's now pretty much a blue.
Yeah, it goes back and forth. We'll see what happens because the gubernatorial election is this year.
Yeah, so I can tell you right now that one's going back blue. You can put that next to my gas thing.
Right. So no, I'd be surprised. I don't know who's running, but if it's Terry McAuliffe again, you got to stop, dude. You got to stop.
Yeah. So and Josh is saying he's mad about cutting the EV mandate. I don't think Elon gives a shit.
No, he said, "Fine, take it out. I don't care."
Yeah, I don't think Elon.
He said, "You know what?
I don't think Elon cares.
You want to stop my government contracts? Stop my government contracts. Yeah. How you getting this? And how you getting the astronauts over the space station? He's already talked about decommissioning the Dragon crew capsule.
Yeah, yeah.
So talk about brinkmanship.
Then there's no way to get them there and back.
Well, you better be nice to Russia.
He closed the Uber.
Yeah, exactly.
He closed the space station Uber.
Yeah. And those are autonomous driving, as a matter of fact. You don't even need a pilot for half of those.
You know the language you're required to speak on the space station? They only require one language to speak.
It's either Russian or English.
It's Russian.
Yeah.
Russian. The Americans who stay up there have to be able to speak Russian.
Well, you used to get blasted off from Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
From the Star City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I wonder if Musk is going to be cranky if, because it is. I think it's Star City is the base where they launch him from I think it's Kazakhstan.
Yep. Still, so Soyuz still launched from Kazakhstan, and right now, and now a lot of people are saying because if Elon's decommissions the Dragon, the next thing for America is the Boeing Starliner, and we've seen how that went.
Right. Yeah, that's worked out so well. That's worked out so well. What do you think about Trump this week? Just goo-gooing and gaga over Zelensky's latest actions.
You mean the bridge and the drone strikes?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't tell.
He was calling him a badass and all this stuff. And what happened? What happened with him in Vance? Why'd you treat that badass so bad then?
Right. Well,
it's part of the job. It's part of the smoke and mirrors.
Right. And the problem is he had a very lovely phone call with his buddy Vladimir, not Zelensky, but Putin, who said, I'm going to retaliate for this. We're not letting him get away with it. Mm-hmm. Now, there's some people over in Europe who are a little concerned about tactical nukes, and I may be one of them because he's got them. He really, really wants to use them.
I don't think Vlad's that. Vlad's.
Well, he needs to make a statement. So he's going to have a massive escalation on offense. But by that same token, when Trump spoke to him, Trump didn't say, "Don't do that. Mm-hmm. I advise you not to do that." When he said he's going to retaliate and told Trump he's going to retaliate.
No, he's going to. Here, part of the game plan. He's easy to read. If he was playing poker with me, I'm pretty sure I could win against this man. Yeah. And I don't understand because
Trump or Putin?
Trump.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Trump shows his hand.
Right.
He's easy to read. He wants them to blow it up, so then he can, for his ego and his legacy, he can be the one who comes in and saves the world. And he gets his Nobel.
He wants the Nobel Peace Prize more than anything.
Peace Prize so bad.
Right.
that he is willing to sacrifice. What did Stalin say? 10 people is a tragedy.
Right.
1 million people is a statistic.
Yeah.
And
Which is interesting because I think they totaled up that Russia's lost 1 million people in this war so far.
Russia has. How much has Ukraine lost?
I would think a whole lot. I don't know if it's quite to 1 million because they didn't have that many to start out with, but yeah.
So, no, I mean, he compared Zelensky to the Chihuahua attacking the big dog.
Right.
So he's saying a lot of praise and stuff like that. So he's still playing both sides of that. So he's
right.
He doesn't care about that war.
He cares about his peace prize.
He cares about his peace prize.
Right, exactly. So which I don't think he's ever going to get.
Just see,
well, look, if he does something magnificent and if he does something that's going to save humanity, give it to him. Who cares?
Yeah. So, who was the first president to get the peace prize?
Teddy Roosevelt.
There you go.
And what was it for?
Russian.
The Sino-Soviet War. Yeah, absolutely.
Russian.
Yep.
Wasn't Soviet yet.
Sino.
Oh, okay.
Sino. Yeah. I said Sino-Soviet. Yeah, it was Russo. Sino-Russo.
It was Russo. Yeah, it was Russo.
Sino was the Japanese.
Yeah.
But.
All right. We have on my list. I have Mark Cuban. You have
Space Station.
But I think we kind of hit that one. So Blake, what do you want to choose?
We can get right into pardons.
We have weddings too, right? You've been saying it. You've been saying it all week.
It's June, baby.
You've been saying it all week.
I'm here for the brides.
We have weddings and Mark Cuban. Good discussion. That was a good one.
Absolutely.
I like that one.
That will be bringing you some facts about clean water.
Okay. I'm going to go with weddings.
Again.
Finally, Lenny.
Clean water.
Hey, that is going to be the most... Potable water is going to be the most important resource in the next 20 years on this planet.
We have the technology to clean any water.
We should desalinate. You see desalination plants popping up everywhere?
Yeah. So
down in Curacao, so they can make Amstel.
They're not popping up because you know what? Yeah. I can't tell the difference between Kirkland water and the Sante. The only one I really like is the Liquid Death water.
But does that amp you up?
But it's in a can, and for some reason it just tastes a little cleaner.
Well, is that water or is that caffeinated water?
It's water.
It's not a power drink?
What about Aquapana, though?
Oh, Aquapana's solid, too. Those
are purified waters. They're not spring waters.
Yeah.
The problem with spring water in Florida is the fact that for $150, I think it is, you can get a permit and you can pump as much water out of the springs as you can.
Yeah, I can tell you this.
So if you're a Florida Springs man,
I grew up on sulfur water.
Yeah, that's why you don't appreciate water, because your water sucks.
I grew up on sulfur water, and you know what? Don't say the world's going to end because I'm taking Florida boys against the New York boys all day long.
First of all, we have the best water in the world up in New York.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
Subway water.
I can tell you this.
Sorry?
I've been to New York.
You drink
I've been to
Subway
New York
water?
City.
Public water in New York is the best you're going to find, Blake.
Yeah.
Try drinking the water out of your tap in St. Augustine, dude.
So why does water companies come out of Florida like Zephyr Hills and not out of New York City?
Because they don't have springs there, and Poland Springs up in Maine.
They don't have springs there. Okay. So how's the water better?
Because it comes from an aquifer way deep down, and we have wells.
Way deep down.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
The Magothy Aquifer, the Lloyd Aquifer.
It goes through 17 subways, and there's no contamination
there. It goes through 17 centuries. And it percolates through the gravel of the planet.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay?
That's why your bagels are better.
So can I, Josh. Believe me. That's why I take a bottle of water with me when I go out to dinner in this town.
Yeah. Lenny, I would never understand why you don't like Zephyr Hills.
Ooh, it's just not good.
Yeah. I don't know the difference. I honestly don't, and I understand that people do know the difference, and I do. I'm busting your balls about this.
Oh,
but I can tell you, what I grew up on. But I also grew up in a time.
Well, that's what you're used to.
I also grew up in a time where it's like, don't drink the water, swish it around, and spit it out, so you don't get cramps.
You don't get cramps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Boy, I got some good information.
Wow. Holy cow! All right.
But no, if your water smells like eggs, you're probably.
I think so. And this is just geography and climate. But if I'm making a salad, anytime from, let's say, April to maybe the end of November, December, I've got to wash my lettuce and put it back in the refrigerator to crisp up, because you can't get cold water. I can get tepid water out of my tap. I can get hot water out of my tap. I can't get cold water.
And I think that probably has a bigger difference. The cold water coming out of New York has, I mean, because I like the flavor of it. What did Irvin say? If it's bad, make it cold.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and then my response to that was which is why when I'm tasting my white wines, I taste them at room temperature.
Yeah.
So you can actually taste the wine, and it's not just cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, when I drink white wine, I want it cold.
Yeah.
I'm not a white wine fan.
No, absolutely, no doubt about it. But yeah. But there was nothing better waking up in December, turning on the tap, and it was like water fountain cold.
How about waiting until the water got warm in the shower? Though?
Well, that was a little while. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
There's good and bad things.
True.
You know what I prefer a warm hot shower over having ice cold water.
Well, it's the same time where I would put my socks and underwear on the radiator.
Yeah.
So that's how you got to prepare for the winter.
Yeah. No.
All right. So you want to know how much it cost to get married in America last year?
It was free for me.
There you go. Good. Congratulations. I would have sent you a gift. Where did you register?
I just didn't get married.
There you go. See how easy that was?
That's how I stay healthy.
All right.
I don't go to the doctor.
You're like my wife.
I didn't spend a dime on a wedding last year.
So, this is going to make Pete Melfi very happy. The least expensive state in the union last year to get married in was
Utah.
Thank you very much. Averaged $18,000. Farmland, Iowa, $19,000. Jersey is a mystery state to me because I always forget that New Jersey is there. And I don't know if they had their Democratic primary for governor yesterday or next Tuesday. But Jersey is $57,000 in Jersey. Surprising Little Rhode Island was $51,000, and Illinois is $39,000. If you're having 50 guests, it's going to cost you about $15,000, 50 or less. If you're having over 100, it's going to cost you about $42,000. But here's the interesting thing. 50% of the people find most of their budgets are short. 46% of people use their own savings. 25% use credit cards. 16% use parents or their personal savings. 11% of the people get a loan. And 67% of the people who got married took on debt for the wedding. Not a good idea.
That's insane.
Of course it is. An average wedding is about $33,000, which was down $2,000 from the year before. It's about $12,000 to get a venue. Costs about $80 a plate for the caterer. Flowers can cost you $2,700. DJ $1,700. And of course, you need to memorialize the event. So it's about $2,900 for a photographer, or videographer.
Wow.
It's wild. Getting married is expensive. Now, when we got married to my beautiful bride, whom I love dearly, catered my own wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Did it the week before I opened my second restaurant. Had a friend of mine who managed a restaurant in the next town over to run the staff that I had just hired. Catered my own wedding, which was great because I called up my butcher and said, "Hey, Johnny, I need 3 beef tenderloins. I need 3 pismos for my wedding."
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say I got a really deep discount on that. Said to my fish man, I need 2 full tuna loins for my wedding.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. And the venue didn't cost us anything because we did it in the backyard of a house of a dear friend of Julie's, who's still a very dear friend of ours to this day. She had just had her 3rd child and let us use her house and her backyard for the wedding. And she just renovated her house. And her friend said, "Reneg, give him a really big gift and back out of it."
Yeah.
So, but we had we had 3 bands. I did the flowers myself. I did the cake myself. As the guests were arriving, I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt finishing the wedding cake, and 2 groomsmen had to pick me up by the elbows to get upstairs and put on my tuxedo. It was a gas. It was a great party. Anyway, and we're still married it'll be 30 years in October.
That's excellent.
That is one strong woman.
I still don't know why she puts up with
That is one strong woman. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah. There was thousands of people at my wedding. I didn't know any of them.
Right.
Yeah. We got married on the beach right there at Anastasia Beach. And
Nice.
we just kind of ran out there. It was, my best friend Chuck and Blake's mom and our person who performed the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. That was the only people there. And then I think we went to Chili's afterwards. Blake was there, but just barely.
Right.
I really did enjoy the chips and salsa though.
Yeah.
There you go.
But we did a reception, which we had it catered by Publix.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's when you're in the South. Well, when you someone says, you want a piece of cake, a Southerner says, where's it from? And what they're saying is it from Publix when they say, where's it from? All right. When you ask a question, what type of cake it is, that's what a Northerner would ask. Right. Southerners don't ask that.
Or
we ask where it's from.
Did it come from Creme de Coco?
Yeah. We ask where is it from?
That is one talented bakery.
Most Northerners, in New York City it might be that, but I mean, I'm talking about like, people all over the north here. They're going to ask, what kind of cake is it? Yeah. I'm going to ask, where is it from?
Which at a wedding is kind of rude because you only get one choice.
Yeah. No, you don't do that. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
But I can still, it's tough to beat a Publix cake.
You sure as hell can't get a good babka down here.
I don't even know what a babka is.
Oh, it's great. It's sort of like a chocolate babka is just fabulous. It's sort of like a Danish.
Babka Blake on his head a couple times when he was little.
It explains a lot, Blake.
Yeah.
We're going to write this down and start documenting this abuse you've been taking.
It's so much abuse. So, so weddings are crazy. They're absolutely crazy.
They're very expensive.
It's crazy.
Very expensive.
And
it's getting crazier now, too, because destination weddings. Have you been invited to a destination wedding?
No, I'm beyond that age.
Good. Me too, because it's crazy.
I'm beyond that age. I've had younger friends that have went to wherever, and not only they're putting themselves in debt, they're putting their friends in debt too.
And the thing is when when you're in your mid-20s, it's like that's when people start getting married, and all of a sudden, if you're in a social circle of friends, you might have 3 or 4 or 5 weddings involved. That could put you in debt for a year and a half.
Yeah, because if you're in that age range, that age range, and all of them, because once one has that destination, you got to keep up with them.
And they don't just do it at the wedding. The bachelorette parties, the bridal show, the bachelorette parties and the bachelor parties, Vegas, Nashville, the Caribbean, on a cruise. It's like, I threw my own bachelor party, and the worst thing I did was give the stripper back the whipped cream. It was terrible. Yeah. You didn't know about it. Yeah, you did. I told you that.
Yeah.
I sure as hell hope I did tell her that.
Yeah, you do now.
Well, my father was my best man, so it was all right.
It's okay.
All right, so Lenny?
Hello.
Is this the baka that you were talking about?
It certainly looks like one. Yes, indeed. It's like Danish pastry or cinnamon roll pastry, but no cinnamon. Chocolate. It's layered. It gets goozy. Yeah, it's delicious. Yeah. You can have a regular babka or a chocolate babka, and a chocolate babka is just fabulous.
That looks like a chocolate babka.
They are good.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I've never.
Kenny, me, and you both. Believe me.
Mm-hmm. So, you go back to the old world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Everybody says that until you got to take a shower under a hose.
Well, I do it in the rain. What the hell?
So, there's certain amenities that I like to keep. Hot showers, number one.
That's true.
I don't know.
I'm a big hot water fan.
I'll give up a meal a day as long as I can have a hot shower. Because I can tell you when you're hiking on the Appalachian Trail and you're doing that stuff, and you get to go to the hostel like on day 4, besides being able to have a good sit down, sit down in comfort, the hot shower is blows away everything else. So
I understand that. That's why I'm a big fan. I think Prometheus is underrated as a demigod, because if it wasn't for Prometheus, we wouldn't be having hot water.
Yeah. So, and Bobby said he paid $400 for the rings. I'm not sure exactly what I paid, but I know I did borrow money to buy the ring from a pawn shop. That's how poor I was at that time. So, all right, we're going to do bollocks. I was going to talk about Mark Cuban, but I can save that for another day.
Good. I'm intrigued.
He stepped down on Shark Tank.
Okay.
So, I believe Mark Cuban's probably going to position himself in some political manner also.
He keeps getting asked about that, and he keeps saying no, but it'll be interesting to see, because he's sort of a galvanizing force as well.
Yeah. So the people that played for him absolutely love him.
Okay.
So, so it's pretty wild of the support that he actually gets.
He seems fairly well grounded in I would like to say, reality, which is nice. He seems pragmatic, which is helpful. So we'll see.
Yeah. Oh man, taking a bath in the creek. Yeah,
that's chilling.
That will wake you up.
That's chilling.
It actually does wake you up. Yep. But I can tell you right now, if you're out there, you're hiking, you're working, and the way, what is it called? The Protestant work ethic was supposed to be, sunrise to sundown, but never on Sunday.
Right.
That they didn't have hot showers. That's where the term "don't throw the baby out with the bathwater."
Right.
They take a bath like once a week or something like that, even less than that.
And it went in size order, right?
Yeah,
or
it
order.
went in age order. It went dad, mom, and oldest child down to the baby. And by the time the baby got in there, you couldn't see the baby.
Right.
So that's where the "don't throw the baby out with the bathwater" came from. Right. All right, it's time for Bollocks. Our Bollocks banner. We've been bannering pretty hard already, but the pardons.
Yeah.
So I went through the history of you probably stuck with some pardons more recent right now.
I've got historical pardons as well.
But I went through the historical side of it. Did you have George Washington's
first pardon?
The very first pardon.
Yeah, he got him for treason. He pardoned them from treason from the Whiskey Rebellion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
all them Western Pennsylvanians that were making the whiskey and didn't want to pay the taxes on it.
Yeah. So and he pardoned these two gentlemen for treason. They were sentenced to death.
Yeah.
Because of a tax that he put into place. And Hamilton actually talked him into this tax.
Right. Well, he wanted to pay for the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hamilton was strong federal government, and he needed to pay for it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, what was some of the other historic ones that you had?
Well, you got Andrew Johnson, who pardoned all the Confederates.
Andrew Johnson was the biggest one,
and that didn't help his impeachment trial at all.
So,
you got a couple of there's a lot of interesting ones. Richard Nixon pardoned Jimmy Hoffa, who then disappeared.
Yeah.
And then Gerald Ford pardoned Richard Nixon. And believe it or not, Robert E. Lee.
Who pardoned?
Ford pardoned Robert E. Lee.
Why wasn't that part of Johnson's?
He was exempt from it. They didn't do Lee. They
didn't do officers, or
I don't know if they didn't do Lee or Lee didn't ask for it, but no, it waited till Gerald Ford did it, and he sat at Robert E. Lee's desk that was from his house at Arlington. Thank you.
I didn't know that.
The Custis Lee Mansion is the big house on the hill overlooking Arlington Cemetery.
Yeah.
That was all Robert E. Lee's property.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's a national monument. His original desk was there, and Truman signed his pardon at that desk. I'm sorry, not Truman. Jerry Ford.
Mm-hmm. But that wasn't Jerry Ford's biggest.
No, it was
pardon.
Nixon.
Yeah,
Nixon.
So,
and it saved him. It saved him the trouble of the trial, because he did it before the trial, and it's considered the first preemptive pardon.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and he did it. I think Gerald Ford was a good man.
Yeah.
I think, and everybody, all the other presidents leaned on him a lot while they were presidents, both Democrats and Republicans.
When he was in Congress?
When he after being president.
Okay.
Carter and him had a fairly decent relationship.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Reagan and him actually got along pretty good. Matter of fact, they talked about running together at one point.
Interesting.
In 80. And then basically every president that was around when Ford leaned on Ford for just that grandpa was
right.
Yeah. And so Ford's the one who he didn't do the draft dodgers. Carter did the draft.
No, that was
Dodgers.
Carter as soon on his first day in office.
Yeah. Carter did the draft dodgers. Yeah. Or what was it? What were they? What was the draft dodgers? Was not the word.
They were called. I have that. Resistors. Draft resistors.
Resistors. That's the word.
For people who left the country or didn't sign up for selective service.
All right, and I think the one that I enjoyed from Carter, as he was going out, he pardoned Peter from Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that for? Marijuana?
Yeah, it was something.
Might have been anti-war.
Yeah, I think it was something that was a folk leading figure in the protest and music scene of the 1960s, but he fell from grace in the 1970 when he was convicted of behaving indecently with a 14-year-old fan.
Ooh, okay.
So
not good.
Carter pardoned him for that.
Okay.
So I don't know what the details of that one was.
Well, don't forget.
But here's a very religious man pardon somebody for something that, yeah. So, it doesn't sound right. So he was sentenced to 3 months in jail. But on the last day of office, Carter issued a pardon for the musician. Last day of office. Okay. And there's a lot of them that happen.
There's a lot of those last
day of office.
Bubba was big on that. Clinton was big on the last day in office, too.
Yeah.
But there were some interesting ones. Look, you know what? Say what I will about Donald Trump, but he corrected some historical wrongs in some of his pardons. A couple of them in particular.
I wanted to go with Ronald Reagan.
Okay, we can do Ronnie.
Because we're baseball guys.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, did you see who he pardoned?
Not baseball related, no.
He pardoned George Steinbrenner.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Yankee. I wouldn't have.
So he pardoned. Yeah, Steinbrenner was convicted in 1974 for 14 criminal counts of making illegal financial contributions to Nixon's re-election campaign 2 years earlier. Steinbrenner pled guilty to the contributions and to obstruction of justice. He was forced to pay $15,000 in fine for his crimes. Though he never went to prison, Reagan issued a pardon in 1989 to clean his name.
Okay.
Did Steinbrenner say that Dave Winfield actually was the one that was making the contributions?
Yeah, no. He would have loved to have that Dave Winfield money back. So, but Mr. May. But
I will tell you that in 2018, Trump in his first term pardoned Jack Johnson, the boxer.
The boxer.
Yep. Who was indicted under the Mann Act for taking his white girlfriend across the state line, and they arrested him for that.
That's how he got stripped of his title, isn't it? No one could beat him.
No.
So, and he was the greatest athlete at that time, and you know, it was all his money and fame. There was a lot of white Southerners that, you know, were very resentful.
Not happy?
Resentful of Jack Johnson.
But Trump also pardoned Susan B. Anthony.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So for what her protest in the 18.
Nope. She voted illegally.
Oh.
So for somebody who is crushing the ability to vote in America today and eviscerating the Civil Rights Department and the Voting Rights Department and the Department of Justice, which is not weaponized at all.
Because they have to have an ID? What are you saying?
No, because she wasn't a woman.
No.
Oh, no, that's fine.
No, I want to know why.
No, I have no problem with showing an ID to vote.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
You're supposed to have an ID on you all the time.
Well, yeah, that's annoying, but yes.
Yeah. So, but to vote, I think you should have to have an ID.
Right, but they're going retroactively. They're doing it selectively. It's being weaponized and pointed in one direction, not the other. You don't see districts with Republican heavy
Democrats
registration.
never did that with the IRS.
Not a whole lot.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Come on, be realistic with the world. Here, you made me spit.
There you go.
Sorry about that. Did I spray on you?
No, not always.
Okay.
Nah. Al Pacino did when I saw him do American Buffalo in Circle in the Square, a very small theater. You ever go see Al Pacino in theater? Be careful. The man is a spitter.
He's a spray.
Oh
spray
my God.
it.
He really does.
Say it, don't spray
great
it.
actor. But holy cow, can he spew?
Yeah.
All
right.
Yeah.
All right. One of Clinton's 2001 was I found interesting was Patty Hearst.
Oh, good for her.
Yep.
I wrote a paper on her in college on the Symbionese Liberation Army for my history class at ILR, and she's the poster child for Stockholm syndrome. Yeah.
Is it her or is it Belle from Beauty and the Beast?
Well, I don't know, but I think it was Patty Hearst.
Right? I mean, but if you think of the story.
Okay.
She traded herself to let her dad out. She became the prisoner of the Beast. Then she fell in love with the Beast, and he never let her out until they developed a relationship, and then they fell in love.
Did he ever turn back into a guy?
Yeah, when they found true love.
Okay, so so there was a happy ending to that.
Yeah, but he still was. He kidnapped her.
Well, okay.
Yeah, he kidnapped her.
I'm not up
no
on my.
Pardon.
I'm not
I
up
don't
on my
see a
Disney.
pardon in here for the Beast right now.
I'm not up on my Disney stories. So
not
don't
all
be
these
doing...
Disney things are good.
No. The older ones were real dark too.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I mean, just think, that Stockholm happened well before Patty Hearst.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Beauty and the Beast was out before Patty Hearst in the 70s. So.
But Clinton also pardoned his brother, his half brother Roger, for cocaine possession and distribution.
Mm-hmm.
And say what you will about Trump selling the pardons and selling his office, because there is no doubt in my mind that he's doing that. But Clinton did the same thing. He pardoned this guy Mark Rich, who was a billionaire who fled the country. What did he do? He did bad things. $48 million of tax evasion. He didn't pay $48 million in taxes over the course of time, and he split the country. And coincidentally, he also was making illegal deals with Iran, Mark Rich was.
Mm-hmm.
But his ex-wife...
Just that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and not paying taxes for $48 million. Because if you look down, Trump's list, half of them are tax evasion and tax fraud, like his friends. But Mark Rich, his ex-wife, made a lot of large donations to Democratic causes. And on the last day in office, and he waited till the last day because he talked about it for a long time, Clinton did, and he got skewered for that. And he didn't care because he was out of office. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them made a lot of pardons. Some of them made few pardons.
Yeah. Obama had the most pardons since Harry S. Truman throughout his 8 years.
Obama pardoned 1,927. And I have conflicting numbers. He did 212 pardons.
Yeah, and
he did 1715
commutations.
So a pardon removes the crime. You are no longer guilty of that crime. A commutation, they don't remove the crime. You're still convicted of the crime. You don't get your rights back, but you're let off of your sentencing. Mm-hmm. So you're forgiven your sentencing. Pardon, you get all your rights back.
Yeah. Unless
you're in Florida, and then you got to pay to get your rights back.
All right, it's saying Trump has issued 19 pardons and 17 commutations.
Minutes?
So,
do
you have something different, or is my numbers wrong?
Can I just say J6 and start with that?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So you can say J6.
J6 doesn't mean nothing to you?
You can say it louder and slower, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, let's talk about the insurrectionists. Let's talk about taking over the Capitol.
J6. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, he pardoned all, and he was going to do it diligently, and he was going to look at it on a case-by-case basis, and he said, you're all free, let's go, even the people that were, beating up cops. So, and today, right now, he's speaking to the Fraternal Order of Police or some police group, and how he can look them in the eye, and how these guys can sit there when he has no respect for
It sounds like it was 25 pardons and 10 commutes on that one.
What, January 6th?
For the insurrection, yeah.
It was thousands.
That were actually sentenced?
Yeah. And if you got arrested, you got convicted.
I need a fact check on that. If there was thousands that were actually
more than 25.
If it was actually sentenced. So
well, a lot of them might have been,
I think a lot of them got off.
All right. All right. So the number is Trump on January 20, 2025. President Trump issued a proclamation that granted clemency to more than 1,500 people.
Is it all with January?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Okay. That are still in trial, or they were actually
that was clemency. So apparently it was clemency.
So those people weren't even charged.
Well, no. If it's clemency, then your conviction stands, but your prison time is forgiven.
Okay.
So that doesn't really help them in the long run.
Okay. I'm still confused by that.
Unless there's a distinction between clemency and commutation.
Yeah. I think commutation is that. I think clemency is
like a pardon.
I think it's a blessing.
So actually,
and if you weren't caught and you're blessed, it's kind of like clearing the slate.
I do have a fact check. So all of them was a full complete unconditioned pardon to all individuals convicted of offenses.
Convicted.
Yes.
So there's 1,500 that were convicted.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Because otherwise he would have lost 1,500 votes because they wouldn't be able to vote if they got commutation.
Well, he didn't do it until after.
Right.
So he didn't get those votes.
For his third term.
They were in hell for his third term. Oh, you are drinking the water. So
Yeah,
is that New
So,
York?
but all right,
is it-
you know, all
it
right,
says, does
so-
New York water make you more Democratic or more of a Democrat?
Just being in New York makes you more of a Democrat. Silk Road, remember that?
Silk Road.
Yeah. Silk Road was the online boutique where you could buy anything. Any drug, legal or illegal, you know, whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
And
I'm not that hip. I didn't know
yeah,
what
well,
that
Ross William Ulbricht was one of Trump's commutations or pardons. He had a life sentence, and he said, "Yeah, come on, get out." But if you look through Trump, you know, first of all, if you were a Republican, a congressman, or a governor, and you got arrested, convicted, tried, and lost, you got pardoned.
All right.
I don't see him offering a pardon to Robert Menendez.
Josh said, how come the 24 FBI undercover agents didn't get arrested?
And who were they, Josh? Who were they?
How come they didn't
What
get
Kool-Aid
arrested?
are you drinking?
How come they didn't get
I know
arrested?
it was the whole thing was a false flag thing. I know the FBI started the whole riot because you know nobody ever brought rocks or guns or bear
I
spray.
can tell you right now, because of that day and the way he handled that day, sealed the deal that I would never vote for the man. It did. And I'm not.
He could have stopped it 15 times.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
Yeah. No. And he can say what he wants, but I still hold him responsible for that day.
Yeah.
And all you
he
Trump
incited
people,
it.
all you Trump people that were behind me going, "Go Troy," just went, "Screw you, Troy." So
That's right. I'll get him back for you. Don't you worry. I'll get him back to you. It'll be okay.
all right. You have any last one? We got time for one more. If we haven't hit one that you
there's
feel that we
so
should talk about,
many, and there's so many recent ones.
make it a
but,
big one. Make it a good one. We got to end. We got to end on a good one.
How about Roger Stone, who has a full-on back tattoo of Donald Trump?
Okay. I mean, that's commitment.
Yes, it is. And he should be committed because the man's nuts. He commuted his 40-month prison sentence first and then gave him a full pardon, to which Mitt Romney, a senator at the time, said it was unprecedented historic corruption. Because, you know, Blake, you got either of those cartoons I sent you?
I do as well, but I do have a little bit of a fact check for you though. It wasn't it wasn't Trump that he got tattooed, Roger Stone. It was actually a full headshot of Richard Nixon.
Is it Nixon, not Trump?
No, it's
There you
Nixon.
go.
That's not a full back.
All right. No, I know, but look at all the hair he has on his head. Look at Tricky Dick and all that hair.
It's so creepy.
He's got room under it for Trump. Don't you worry.
I got more back coverage on tattoos than that.
There you go.
So Blake's initials are bigger than that.
I forgot
right
that
there.
was Simpson. But, you know, if you've got a platform that you can get votes for Trump, he'll pardon you.
Okay.
If you're a Republican and you got busted, you're good.
Yeah, but like I said, this is a power that is
Getting abused
it
now.
comes. No, I think it always was.
Yeah.
You know, look. I mean, George H.W. The Contras, Iran Contras.
Right.
I mean,
And
his those are his buddies.
yeah.
And what organization did he run?
I think it had 3 letters. Was it
Yeah.
3 letters?
Yeah, I don't know if we can
was
say
it the
'em.
MTA?
I don't think that was it.
Was it the AAA?
I think it started with you
C?
know what? We're out of time. I mean, yeah, it's that one.
Right.
It's that one.
Okay.
So you know,
Right.
like I'm
So
saying,
the guys that are listening.
Yeah,
No, that's
this-
the NSA. It wasn't
this
that.
is this is not new. This is
No,
not a you know, it's not something that's gonna go away.
Mm-mm.
And when the next people get in power, they're going to do the same thing.
Sure.
Whether it has a D or an R beside their name.
Yep.
You know, tomorrow morning, I'm going to do my 2 cents, my 904 2 cents.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk about extremism.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk about being too far away and how it hurts local more than it does national. So,
Well, when you look, and I grew up in a city that politics was literally a blood sport. It was Democrat, Republican. You know, down here you've got the illusion of non-alignment, and that helps to a degree, though you can sort of tell which way people are being supported. But it really becomes a problem at the local level because people take the national levels, the national labels, and the national platforms. You know, I kept saying, you know, a woman's right to choose, because I didn't say the other word, or the Second Amendment has nothing to do with my position as a local council person. And in theory, it should have nothing to do with a county commissioner here or a city commissioner.
You had nothing to do with abortion rights. You had nothing, you know, at the local level in
No.
your city. You
No.
had
No.
nothing to do with those things, and they
No.
try and ask what your
Right.
feeling is on
Right.
that.
Right.
That doesn't matter.
It's not within. It's not within my purview
doesn't matter.
as a
not the
coun-
position
as a
I'm
city
running for.
city legislator.
That's
Right.
not the position I'm running
Correct.
for. So
Correct. You want to talk to me about taxes? Fine. That's in my power.
Yeah.
The other two are not. Nor is it something that we're supposed to deal with at that level.
all right. I want to give this shout out because thank you, Lenny. Great conversation today. By the way,
Always.
a lot of fun. I had a blast with it.
I'm here for your blood pressure.
I enjoyed it. That's the way I cleanse the palate. But tomorrow after our morning show, I'm going to go live and do my 2 cents. And we're going to do that kind of as a weekly recap. It could be world events, could be local events, could be about anything. But I've kind of given away what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. And we're going to see how it goes. No sponsorship on that show. So it's going to be 100% my thoughts on the week. So that way we don't hurt any businesses on my blast. It's basically going to be my editorial.
Are you doing it on the morning show?
No, I'm going to do it after the morning show in a different studio.
Okay, fine. So I can sleep in and find it anytime.
You can sleep in and find it anytime because we will be live with it after the morning show.
Okay,
not giving it any exact time on it, but I will be live with it
sometime about 9:07.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Right. How about 9:04?
That's, you know what? That is a great idea. Like,
stick with me, kids. We're going places.
Like, finally, after 3 years, Lenny came up with a good idea. All right. Thank you guys so much. It's been a great week here on
weekend. We'll
Politics
see you next week.
Bye now.